Our objective with this experiment was to determine the frictional force using experimental data. For this, we used an inclined plane, an horizontal plane, a photoelectric sensor in an universal stand, a chronometer, a wooden block with an opaque strip, a scale, a ruler, and, of course, a chair to hold it all together. To determine the frictional force with this setup, we dropped the car in the inclined plane and measured the time it takes to the opaque strip to pass to the photoelectric sensor, represented by the flag in this scheme, and the distance the block went in the horizontal plane. So we measured the mass of the block with the scale, configured the chronometer to stopwatch mode, and proceeded to drop the car from the inclined plane. A lot of times. And every time, we measured the distance it took the car to stop its motion, due to the frictional force, and the time it took to the opaque strip to pass through the photoelectric sensor, which is showed by the chronometer. While we did the procedure, we were writing down the results in this sheet of paper, and these were the results. Then, with the length of the opaque strip and the time it took to pass through the photoelectric sensor, we calculated the velocity of the block and squared it in order to be able to use in this formula. With this new data, we filled a new table, this one. With the data from the table, we did this graph whose y-axis is the square of the block's velocity and its x-axis is the distance traveled in the horizontal plane, so the slope is 2 times the block's acceleration. Knowing the mass we measured directly in the beginning of the experiment and the acceleration, we can use Newton's second law to determine the resultant force, which, in this case, is the frictional force. And these were the results.